Well, now it's time to take a look at 2024 and see what we think is going to happen in 2024. We'll give you a base case and we'll give you a bull case, and we'll see what you think about the results here. All right, so let's start with over here. I'm showing the fourth quarter, what I was projecting would be sold in the fourth quarter in each of the four plants. If you haven't watched my videos before with regard to how I do this, I don't look at the style. I don't look at the kind of particular type of car. I look at the total number that will be produced by plant. And I assume that over time, it'll be about the same number sold as produced. So in any given quarter, it might be higher for those produced versus sold. In another quarter, it might be lower. So I'm assuming over time, it'll work out about the same. Obviously, over time, they will probably build some inventory because as you get larger and larger, you have to have more inventory. But these, again, please understand, are always rough numbers because who could know what might happen out there in terms of wars or pandemics or, just normal business going up and down. You don't know. So these are always going to be just best guesses based on available information. So where do I start? Oh, look, first of all, this is Randy Kirk, in case you didn't already figure that out. And you want to hit like, and then after that, hit subscribe. I don't know why you haven't already done that. And then hit notify, because we have such good content on here. We broke news all last weekend. We are one of the first to put up our numbers for 2023 and 2024. 2023 numbers went up yesterday. And so we'll be doing some videos here coming up in the future where we're going to show you the plans for next year. I mean, all the way through the end of this decade with regard to the semi trucks, with regard to energy, and with regard to robots. I'm not going to do Cybertruck because I don't even know. And when I say Cybertruck, I'm sorry, I'm not going to show you semi truck right now. One more time. Am I glad that this one is edited, Mike? I'm not going to show you the Robotaxis because it's beyond the scope of my ability to imagine. I could use Kathy Wood's numbers or somebody else's numbers, but I'm just not even going to do that chart now until we get closer and start to really be able to analyze what the realities are. The numbers are just massive. So anyway. Let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, you join Patreon. I'm hoping to get to 100 by Monday. So any help you can give, but of course, there's all kinds. This information was up for 5 days before we showed it on YouTube. You could have already seen it 4 or 5 days ago. Anyway, let's take a look. So these are the numbers that were for fourth quarter of 2023. So you can see that in the first quarter in Fremont, I'm suggesting it'll be down just a little bit. 150,000 was their capacity in 2023. With all the changes they made in the lines, with Tom Zhu being in there working hard to get their numbers up, I'm going to assume that they're going to have an increase in capacity in 2024. But in January, as you know, that's usually when they don't do quite so well. I mean, the first quarter. So let's just look at Fremont as being 145. Then in Shanghai, I'm going to say in Shanghai, even though the first quarter usually is difficult there as well, I'm going to say they'll be doing enough more cars that they will move more cars in terms of shipments. So we'll put that at 260. Austin, definitely a big increase in Austin because they'll be making a lot more Ys after all these changes they're putting in, a lot more Ys in Austin, and they'll be making, of course, Cybertrucks. So I'm showing 120,000 in Austin in the first quarter. And then in Berlin, I'm suggesting they'll only go from 80 to 100,000. So as you can tell, that would kind of mean that maybe I'm figuring they'll make 20 or 30,000 Cybertrucks in Austin. Then if you go to the next quarter, I'm suggesting we get up to full capacity in second quarter, pretty much across the board. Austin adding more Cybertrucks and more Model Ys. And in Berlin, getting up to their capacity of 125,000 a quarter in Berlin. Some people think that the capacity is less than that, maybe only 90,000, 80,000 per quarter. I don't think that's true. I think it'll be 125,000 per quarter. We'll find out later. As they add to Berlin, maybe it won't be until they add all this additional space that they'll be able to get up to the 500,000 run rate. I'm assuming that happens in the second quarter. That is a place I could be wrong. So then you look at the third quarter, maximums again in Fremont and Shanghai. Austin adding some more, no more Model Ys at this point. Maybe they'll be adding some more lines in Austin. I'm not sure, but they will definitely be adding more Cybertrucks. And in Berlin, maxed out, and then a few more Cybertrucks in the fourth quarter, otherwise the same. So that comes out to 2.8 million total. That will be a pretty big increase over 1.9, but that's about your 50% increase per year, even though it'll still be way ahead of the base plan starting in 2000 and adding 50% a year. All right, where does that happen when we take it up here and start putting it into the regular chart? Let's look at the first quarter on the average selling cost. I'm saying it'll be up to 48,000. That'll be partially because of Cybertruck. It'll go up a little bit throughout the rest of the year. There'll be more Model Ys, more of the top end Model 3s, and more Cybertrucks. So I'm showing 48 and then 49 and then finally 50,000 average per car as we go throughout the rest of 2024, giving total auto revenue here. Margins, I'm saying, will go, I was showing 20% in the fourth quarter of 2023. And I'm saying as we go through this year, we're going to go back to those margins from last year, but I'm going to be very conservative and have it only 1% per quarter, even less than that. Nothing in quarter three, another percent in quarter four. This could be a lot higher. These numbers could end up be with a good year, a good economy, could be, and with the Cybertruck calling attention to the entire line, you could see a lot of increase in margins next year. But for now, we'll keep it on that line. Now, energy profits. Now, Lathrop will be 100% on, 100% production by early in 2024, and Shanghai should be beginning to produce. So I'm suggesting they do $6 billion in total profits in 2024. I think that is in line. It's probably not conservative, but I don't think it's too high. Other profit, just increasing it a little bit over last year in the first two quarters, then jumping up a little more as we get more and more of the non-Tesla cars coming into the charging stations and maybe more and more states allowing insurance. I think we'll see some of that starting to come through by the third and fourth quarter. And then semi-truck, we'll see a little bit of business throughout the year. I'm just going to add semi-truck at $100 million in profit for the entire year. I think it'll be higher than that, but that's a small number. I'm no longer including IRA here. I'm figuring that into the actual profits and cost of goods sold. All right, let's move down here now. Total profit. You can read those for yourself. I don't need to read them out to you. Overhead, I'm saying it goes up in the first quarter compared to the first quarter compared to the fourth quarter of 2023 from 2.2 to 2.5 as the Cybertruck starts to impact overhead a little bit more, up to $3 billion. This is probably high for the year, but in line maybe with all of the additional product that's being made. That gives us a GAAP income of $28.9 billion for the year, EPS of 8.38 per share, 712 after tax. So let's look at what the street is saying. The street is saying 484. So the street's at 484. I'm at 838, double what the street is suggesting. At 838, if we were to multiply that times a 50, that would be over $400 per share. So right now, that would suggest that at the end of 2023, if you believe this number, Tesla should be at 400 by the end of 2023, or certainly by the first quarter, which is what I'm projecting, is $400, all-time high, 410 by the end of January. All right, so that is the base case. Let's dial it down a little bit, and we'll go take a look at the bear case. In the bear case, we're suggesting about the same number for Fremont, but not growing quite as much over the course of the year. In Shanghai, 250,000 full-on production the first quarter, but then not going quite as high the rest of the year. Austin, slower again, not quite as big a numbers, and Berlin staying at the my maximum there. I could have lowered that just a little bit for a total of 2.7 million cars. We take that up to the totals here, and we get a little bit lower. Actually, no, those are the same asking prices or suggested selling prices as I had before. Margins marching up about the same way. And then energy profits a little bit lower, other profits about the same, and then total profit coming down to only an EPS of $7.70, as opposed to up here we had it at $8.38. So 770 would still be substantially above the 484, and if we apply a 50 multiple to that, we get it at about $385 a share. So I think that would still be in line. Now, remember, these numbers have nothing to do with robots, no Optimus at all. This has nothing to do with full self-driving and whether they start taking full advantage of the entire amount of money that's coming into full self-driving during the course of the year. This has nothing to do with robotaxis. It has nothing to do with DOJO as a service. I mean, there's a whole list of things that are not included in the potential. What I'm showing here, this is really just basically the cars, the new Cybertruck, a little tiny bit for semi-trucks, and of course, energy. And already you're at these numbers compared to what the street is expecting, even in the bear case, very, very close to double what the street is expecting. So if this was useful to you, if you found it fun and enjoyable, I'd love to hear, of course, what your comments and thoughts are. Hit like and then provide me with comments. Hit subscribe, hit notify, so you can always be sure to be tuning in at 7:10 Pacific time every morning to find out what is going on for the day and some estimates of what's going to happen with Tesla stock for the day. And then really, 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 I'm trying to get to 100 Patreons by the end of the month. Look down in the information below to get the link for Patreon so that you can join up in Patreon and help me get to number 100. And of course, buy the books, buy the books, buy the books. This has been Randy Kirk. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.